So, as crazy as this may sound, as the title clearly states, I know I'm posing a question, but you can have up to 5 LinkedIn newsletters. Now, before I go any further, I will first say that I am not here to promote or suggest that you should have 5 LinkedIn newsletters. That is absurd. But what I do want to paint a picture of is when should you or may you consider, after launching your first LinkedIn newsletter, potentially having a second, a third. But I wouldn't go any further than that. Someone that is trying to manage 4 or 5, even 3 newsletters for that matter, it may be a huge undertaking. And I'm going to say this. It is going to be a very, very small percentage of people that are going to have more than one newsletter. And that's what I want to talk about in today's episode and today's training. Now, before I jump on in, we're going into the final week of our VIP early bird spots in our year-long group coaching mastermind called Expert Authority. So, if you are a coach, if you are a consultant, if you are a service professional, i.e., your financial services, insurance, lawyer, accountant, bookkeeper, and you are looking to grow and build your presence on LinkedIn to generate consistent leads and sales, but also learn our system and structure of how to have a feel-good business model, meaning how to grow and scale it, not just on social media, but growing your email list, optimizing a lead magnet and website, and generating consistent revenue each month, then this mastermind is for you. Now, we have set aside 5 VIP spots for people that sign up before the official launch in January. We only have 1 spot remaining. It is first come, first serve. It comes with a significant discount off of our regular pricing. So if you are watching on social, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, and you would like to speak to us about this final VIP spot, what the mastermind entails, and if it's a good fit for you, just type the word "me" in the comments, and I'll send you our calendar link so you can book a time, because these spots officially close on January 5th. So please get on our calendar as soon as you can. If you're listening on the podcast, super easy. The description of this episode has the link right there for you to schedule on our calendar. So let's talk about the ability to have more than one LinkedIn newsletter. Now, unbeknownst to me, I haven't seen anyone talk about this. Now, here's the crazy thing. Someone asked me the other day, how long has this feature been around? Not the LinkedIn newsletter feature, the multiple LinkedIn newsletter feature. Now, I thought this was from a while, like most recently, because I haven't seen anyone. I mean, if you have someone in your LinkedIn sphere that has talked about this, please send me an article or something that they wrote, because I haven't found anything. So I was working with a client last week, and we were building out her LinkedIn newsletter, which is what I help people do. And I noticed that it said you can have up to 5 LinkedIn newsletters. And I'm like, that's kind of strange. So I did some digging, and I actually found an article that LinkedIn released, get this, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And I was befuddled. So it was released 2 years ago, and it says all LinkedIn members have the ability to create a newsletter about their expertise and interests. You can create up to 5 newsletters on LinkedIn. You can leverage multiple newsletters on LinkedIn to talk about different professional topics and write in different languages, allowing you to build and grow a regularly engaged audience. You can follow the same process of creating a newsletter to create additional newsletters. You need to wait for a minimum, this is the catch, you need to wait for a minimum of 2 weeks after publishing the initial article of one newsletter before creating another new newsletter. Each time you publish the first article in a new newsletter, all of your followers will be invited to subscribe to it. When a member follows you, they will be invited to subscribe to a newsletter that you most recently published to, which is really, really important. So, some additional notes that LinkedIn shares. When a member searches for you, they will see the newsletter that you most recently published to. Second, if you have multiple newsletters, your profile will display your newsletter with the most followers that has had an article published in the last 30 days. And finally, you currently can't merge newsletters or transfer followers between them. So, this is one of those things where it started to make me think, okay, so, and I actually brought this to Nancy's attention. And I'm like, should we consider having another newsletter? And to be completely transparent and honest, it's not a big undertaking to manage a newsletter on LinkedIn, but mine is called LinkedIn Tips and Updates. So everything that I share in there is about LinkedIn tips and updates. Now, could I create another newsletter that aligns with something that Nancy and I do together? So I run my own coaching and consulting firm. Nancy has a content repurposing agency for insurance brokers. And together we have a company called The Time to Grow, which has 3 different offerings: a group coaching mastermind with one-to-one coaching embedded in it. We have a LinkedIn content creation community called the Expert Content Society. And we have a standalone course called Expert Foundations, which helps people in the infancy stages or concept stages to create their business in a very streamlined fashion. So I was kind of talking this over with Nancy, and I'm like, wouldn't it be really cool if we co-collaborated with an additional newsletter from my profile where we both contributed to it, that was separate from your personal branding newsletter and my LinkedIn Tips and Updates newsletter, and we focused on everything that we talk about in The Time to Grow. And it's something that we're still talking through, but it got me thinking about a lot of the people that we work with are multi-passionate entrepreneurs that have different niches that they serve. So it got me thinking, and I was kind of turning the mirror around on myself, and I was thinking, okay, when would it be appropriate for someone to have another newsletter? So here's my honest thoughts and feelings on this. If you are a coach, a consultant, a service professional that has multiple target markets. So let's, as an example, one of your target markets is small business owners. Okay, so that's one sect of your. The other niche that maybe you focus on is maybe current or retired military professionals. So you have small business owners on one side, and you have current and retired military professionals on the other side. Now, then what you would think about, okay, what service or services do I provide the small business owners that is completely separate from the current or retired military professionals? That is a prime example. So say that you do, as an example, you do financial services for current and retired military professionals. Okay. Second, maybe you do insurance for the small business owners. So that's where you would completely separate from both of those two. So I'll go into more deeper context. So using those two examples, you could have one newsletter called Finance Tips for the military. So that could be one. The other newsletter could be insurance tips and benefits for small businesses, something along those lines. And if that was me and I chose to go down that avenue, what I would do is I would move into a bi-weekly cadence on LinkedIn for each of them. So remember, you can do daily, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. So if I did have 2 newsletters, the first and third week would be one of those arenas, could be the finance for military professionals. And then on the second and fourth week could be the insurance tips for small business owners. So you're still doing a weekly cadence, so to speak, for your LinkedIn newsletter. It's just every other week is going towards a core demographic that you serve. That is probably the best example, or the would be the only reason why I would ever want to have 2 LinkedIn newsletters. Now, I'm still contemplating this with Nancy, and if we do step into it and we do decide to create a second newsletter, obviously I will let you guys know, and I will give you the research and what we found from this. But outside of that, before you ever think about launching a second newsletter, optimize the heck out of the current one that you have. Because if you're not taking the time to grow a current LinkedIn newsletter, it's not going to work by having a second one. That's just going to add more onto your plate. But if you have optimized it and you do have split demographics of niches that you work with, then you can contemplate and think about launching a second one. So before I close out today's episode and today's training, again, if you are interested in booking a call to talk about taking our final pre-sale VIP spot in our year-long group coaching mastermind called Expert Authority, if you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, just type the word me in the comments and I'll send you our calendar link. If you are listening on the podcast, super easy. The description of this episode has the link right there for you. Schedule, get on our calendar, and let's have a talk. So I hope you found today's episode and today's training helpful. Love and gratitude, and I'll talk to you next time.